Today, I want to talk about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her Green New Deal that got put up for a vote by Cocaine Mitch, and it went down 47-0. 0.0. No, nobody wanted to attach their name to this fucking piece of shit. The Green New Deal. This is fucking scary, though, that this even gets time. This is what they waste their fucking time on, these people. These fucking people. No wonder they have a 9% approval rating. They waste their time with the Green New Deal. We have an opioid epidemic, border crisis. Taxes are low, though. Colleges cost $200,000. If you don't go to college, you're a fucking loser, according to the cathedral, what have you. The Leviathan. Zog. Zog says if you don't go to college, you're a fucking loser. That's a thing. And it costs you $200,000. And what if you don't have money for it? Well, it's okay. If you're brown, you get in for free. And you go take a government job. That's all you do. Green New Deal, 47-0. AOC claims she told them to vote present. All the Democrats voted present. It's okay. AOC. This is what happens, Larry, when you elect a non-white bartender into fucking Congress. This is what happens, Larry. They tell you they want to outlaw the internal combustion engine. And surprise, it fails. Because the rest of the universe doesn't think like they do in Brooklyn. Yeah, maybe you don't need a car in Brooklyn. You know? Maybe you don't need a vehicle. Maybe you can, walk your kid to school or go get groceries down the street or whatever. But in the real world, this fucking sprawl that they've provided to us, unless you want to live next to a bunch of undesirable, you have to have a vehicle. You need a vehicle, you need the internal combustion engine. And the thing of it is here, and this has been the case for a solid 15 years. The environmentalist shit, they don't really, I'm not saying they don't really care about the environment, but that's not their ultimate goal. Because everybody, to some extent, well, most people, I should say, to some extent, really do actually care about the environment. Your hunters, for example, they don't want to hunt their species to extinction. Because there was a time when there was a lot more, birds around, and ducks and geese and upland game, pheasants, grouse, quail. There's a lot more of this. So your average hunter, he'll gladly take only his limit. He won't shoot 50 birds just because they're there. No, unless you're a Hmong, and then you'll just take as many as you can. That's the problem with, unless you're non-white, and then you'll just hunt and fish until your bucket is full. Then if you don't use it, you throw it away because you're a fucking retard. If you're from Laos, then you don't give a fuck about the environment. But if you're a white person, then you do care about these things. That's the thing. Everything ties back to that, doesn't it? You're going to bring all these fucking non-white people in there, and they don't give a fuck about the environment. Do you see what happens at the border with these Mexicans? I go out walking all the time on project sites that are next to places that are infested with illegals. It's just a dump. There's trash fucking everywhere. It's disgusting. And these government agencies, they don't know what to fucking do about it. They can't fucking keep their trash in their own car until they get home and throw it in the garbage. They gotta throw it out the window because they're fucking dumb. They're dumb. Dumb. Like your departments of transportation are just fucking beating their head against the wall. What do I do with those trash? These regulations make it so I can't even have a cigarette butt in the water. What the fuck am I supposed to do? It's everybody too. It's not even just, it's just all of society, all of clown world. Affluent white people are just as shitty as the rest of them if you're leftist. They're just garbage human beings. They'll throw shit everywhere. These are the so-called people that'll give money to the Sierra Club. They'll throw shit out their window. I've seen it. So environment, they don't really give a fuck about the environment, these people. This is just they want a virtue signal and, global warming, it's such a big deal. Meanwhile, I'll throw my fucking garbage out the window so somebody else will pick it up. Never mind that it goes into the river next door. And we don't have any salmon left. I don't think I completed my point though before. Like your staunch conservative NRA member is an environmentalist. They don't want to see, your species hunted out. They don't want to see all the habitat go away because they like hunting. They like taking their kids hunting. They like fishing. So they'll gladly stay within the limits. They'll gladly pay their license fees to pay for more habitat. Every time they bring something up for a vote, for a referendum, that'll pass, no problem. Hey, we'll have more money for clean water, cleaner, whatever. Everybody does it. Even your leftists who actually throw trash out the window will pay for this shit. They'll gladly do it. But your non-white people are not so fucking environmentally friendly. Even your Indians. It's just a matter of stupidity. They're just dumb. The Indians, they'll LARP as environmentalists for the gringo. But they don't fucking care. The Ojibwe band in Minnesota, they completely fucked up 2 lakes. They were once thriving tourist destinations. Now you can't even fish in them because they're all fucked. They're fucked. And the DNR says, no, it's not because of the gill netting that we allow. Sure, buddy, sure. It's not because of the Indians netting walleye indiscriminately. I don't know who reported on, what is their reporting requirements for the Ojibwe Indians? Do they allow a DNR guy to go with them and count the fish that they net? I highly fucking doubt it. So they're probably relying upon themselves to give the estimates of how many pounds of fish they netted. It's absolutely disgusting to the people I was talking about before, like your right-wing NRA gun member, the bitter clingers, if you will. The real environmentalists, the hunters and the fishers. It's abhorrent that they allow these fucking renegades to use 1820s tactics to net fish out of a lake that are of quality of the walleye. They're not taking fucking carp, but these fucking retards could just as well eat carp because they're fucking cavemen. They're just dumb, alcoholic retards. That's your average Indian. These are fucking low quality human beings, is what I'm telling you. They fished the entire lake out. They took Red Lake, which was another popular tourist destination. They completely fished it out. All the Indians netted all the fish because fuck white people. That's why. Because fuck white people. That's why they did it. And they did the same thing in Mille Lacs, and they won't admit it. They won't admit that, it was just, because they can't admit it because there's an Indian casino on Mille Lacs Lake that's very popular. So if they admitted that the Indians fished it out, then nobody would go to the Indian casino. And the Jewish people who run the Indian casino would not get their money. You see how that fucking works? No, the Indians didn't do it. It was unnatural. Yeah, guy. But they did the same thing. Why would they fish out another lake, Red Lake, but they wouldn't fish out Mille Lacs Lake? Okay. They all of a sudden got religion. They're gill netting. They're taking nets and just netting the fish by the hundreds, by the dozens at a time. And they just, whatever they don't use, they fucking throw away. Because they're just shitty people. They're not environmentally friendly whatsoever. And that's your Native American. The Mexican, like I said, look at the border. Look at the border crossings. Feces and garbage. These are not environmentally friendly people. Look at the big cities. They're all trashed. Needles everywhere. The truth of the matter is that people actually already care about the environment. That's why nobody buys this Green New Deal nonsense. And to a lesser extent, they don't give a fuck about climate change. Because everybody knows that the climate change is run by the United Nations. That's who's the driver of this. The fucking United Nations. They're not corrupt at all, right? There's so many stories have been out already about how their climate models have been complete bullshit. Like, you put random data into these models and it'll show warming. So the models are just rigged. A model is, people think that, like, modeling is some kind of magic voodoo that tells you for sure what's going to happen. It doesn't. Modeling is just a series of computer calculations that are run over and over again very quickly. That's all it is. So if you have shitty input, you're going to have shitty output, and that's it. It's not that hard. So when they tell you it's going to, oh my God, we're going to be irreversible global warming if we don't do X, Y, and Z immediately, they're full of shit. And you have dumb non-white people like AOC that'll bring this to the table, and people are like, no, we don't believe this shit because you're fucking liars. With the United Nations says, jump. I'm not going to jump. If the United Nations tells you the sky was blue, I would assume it was orange. It's the ICCP, the International Climate Change Panel or something like that. I forget the acronym. I used to know it. I followed this shit for years. It was amazing the bullshit that they try to get away with. They try to say that tree rings are correlated to actual temperature data when they're not. And they use tree ring data. So the tree ring data in the last 50 years is completely does not correlate with the actual temperatures in the last 50 years. So they had to lie and kind of adjust the data to make it work. But they're using tree ring data to tell you what the temperature was 1,000 years ago. And they'll do shit like they'll take out periods of warming like the little, or periods of warming or cooling like the little ice age. Those take it out. Or the medieval warming period it is. There's something called the medieval warming period that's not even represented in these data sets. So they do shit like that. It's all bullshit. It's hard enough, I'll put it this way, it's hard enough to get accurate modeling data when you have the data right in front of you, when you have good data right in front of you. It's hard enough to model what actually your system does. Yeah, temperature or rainfall or runoff or whatever. It's hard enough to model what you have when the results are right in front of you as a predictive tool. It's very difficult. These retards claim, I can take 1,000 years of data and for sure I'm going to tell you what happens. Well, they tried to do that. They tried to do that back in the 90s and they were fucking dead wrong. We were outside of the 95% confidence interval for this modeling. They claimed they were going to have so much warming and they had none of it. So their models back in the 90s were dead wrong. So I don't know where this fucking shit is coming from. Why are these people still talking? Why are you still talking, dunce? You said there would be all this warming, and there hasn't been any. Oh, yeah, so the loudest people chirping about, we need climate change. It's not anything about climate change. It's about, communism, basically. It's about taking over more government power, more taxes, basically bringing America down a peg. All of these things can do the same thing. They're about taking America down a peg, which basically is what Barack Obama admitted. We need to fundamentally transform America. We need to take us down. What do you really mean? Of course, white privilege and white people are too comfortable. You're gonna make it just knock you guys down a peg. That's it. That's all this is about, which is bullshit. And everybody knows that, though. That's the thing. People are already environmentally conscious, and to be honest, we already have all the environmental regulation in place that we need. Because in the 1960s, we started to see the effects of industrialized pollution in places like the Midwest. We started to see rivers that were like orange on fire and shit. We went, what the fuck? What are we doing? So Nixon invented the EPA in 1972. We started EPA Superfund sites. We all cleaned these things up. And a lot of them are pretty much cleaned up right now. They're all probably identified and cleaned up, at least the governmental sites that the U.S. government or the government polluted. They're all in pretty much monitoring phases by now. So and things have been a lot better. There's still things that are still out there. Yet you got the glorious Indians have fished out so many lakes. You've got once populous salmon that are no longer in your Central California streams. But they're, trying to introduce as much habitat as they can. So things are going on. And some people would say, tear down all the buildings and farms. And that's just not realistic. Most people would say we've got a pretty good balance between industry and what we've got for actual environmental regulations. So nobody's going to buy it. Nobody's going to believe your alarmist horseshit about how we're all going to die. They always have to have a boogeyman, and the government has to come and help. That's a basic bitch political take, but it's correct. The left just always have to have some kind of boogeyman, some kind of Hitler we have to stop. Fuck that. Not even leftists, the right is the same way. There's always some kind of boogeyman, some evil supervillain that the government has to come in and change, or the military has to physically remove. Climate change may or may not be real. It's probably it's something that you measure in centuries, not years. So I don't necessarily believe that we've got all the CO2 in there, everything's definitely going to get all this worse. I don't think so. We don't know how the system operates. There's no fucking way. We don't know that. It's probably much more related to the sun and solar energy than it is to what man can do. We're just a beast. But they'll outlaw temperature changes. These fucking people. The UN get together and declare that we're not allowed to raise the temperature anymore. They're going to declare that they know that they can lower the temperature. You have temperature variations that's a thing. It doesn't make any sense because you've got temperature variations on a daily basis. Huge swings. And some places in the Midwest, you've got 100-degree temperature variations within a couple days. So what the fuck is the difference if it's 1 degree cooler over 100 years? 1 degree Celsius cooler over 100 years? There is none. There's no difference. These people are lying to you because they're trying to get fucking more taxes. They're trying to knock America down a peg. None of that matters because China and India aren't doing anything anyway. China and India are doing whatever the fuck they want. So none of this matters. AOC 47-0. Nobody cares about global warming because we already care about the environment. Most of us, the vast majority of us do. So whatever the fuck AOC brings to the table is just nonsense. These people are hypocrites. All these fucking lefties that trash the hell out of their own cities. Give money, and on the other side, give money to the Sierra Club because they can't put their fucking cigarette in their ashtray. They have to throw it outside the window. These pieces of shit that pollute the hell out of everyone. All these lefties or fucking cities are trashed. Oh, the government will help us. These fucking people.